Elvis fans, and welcome. We are back, the latest edition of TCB Radio Network on Facebook Live. That's right, no hurricanes, nothing else. We're finally back. So excited to be with you guys tonight. We have a very, very special guest on the line, and I'm going to introduce you to him in just a moment. But first, let's kick it off with our intro video like we normally do. And I'm a little bit out of practice, so bear with me. I'm so excited you guys are tuning in. I see some beautiful faces popping up. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to turn it around. Bear with me here just one moment. There we have it. Hey, Amanda's here. Amanda loves my hat. Thanks, Amanda. John Daly, the John Daly Pawn Shop. I gotta give mad props to him for the awesome hat. He's been hooking me up with these. And Mike Durbin's here. Hi, Mike. So, as you know, we are TCB Radio Network on Facebook Live, celebrating the life and memory of Elvis Presley with a mission to share his legacy with the world. I need to do a quick shout out and thank you to quickproductions.com for being our sponsors, and also to Lee Douglas of Old Time Rock and Roll for converting the show to iTunes. Thanks everybody for listening to us on iTunes as well. Now, hi, Trina's here from Scotland. Hey, Terry from North Carolina. Welcome, you guys. Thanks for tuning in tonight. You guys, you've been hearing me talk about this for the last 3 weeks on Facebook. I am so excited tonight. Don Wilson has been a Hollywood insider for over 20 years. Tony Curtis himself has said that Don has his pulse on the pulse of Hollywood. And Don first met Elvis Presley at the age of 9, and in later years he was able to visit Elvis every now and then. Not only did Elvis call Don his friend, but many of his inner circle did as well. And tonight we are delighted to welcome to TCB Radio Network on Facebook Live, Don Wilson. Don, welcome to the show.
Hey, Krista, it's a joy to be with you.
Yay, we're so excited to have you. Of course, you guys see I have Don on speakerphone. He's not with me in Florida, so we're bringing his voice in live for you guys tonight. And Sissy's here. Hi, Sissy. Say hi, Don.
Hi, Sissy.
Yay, Sissy's here. And Maria's here from Canada. She says now she needs sound. Turn up your volume, girl. Okay, so we are going to kick it off with Don tonight. Now, Don, you met Elvis because of your uncle and your dad's connection with him back in the 1950s. Tell us about their connection and about your first time meeting Elvis in 1970. If you guys watching live have questions for Don, type them in. I'm going to try to read some of those as well. Okay, Don, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, my uncle used to book Elvis, at it was like a VFW type, situation back in the 50s, but that was pretty much the extent of my uncle. But, my father actually was at the Eagles Hall in Houston in 1955, and Tommy Sands was on the show, and Hoot Gibson's was on the show, and of course Elvis was doing one of his first, performances, there. And anyway, Elvis was a little nervous or shy. He wanted to meet the Western star Hoot Gibson, but my father took him over to meet him, and that started their friendship. And he found out that Elvis's favorite movie star was Gene Autry, and my dad was a good friend of Gene Autry. And in fact, I want to jump ahead when Elvis had his song "That's All Right, Mama" first played on the radio, Gene Autry, they had a double feature of Gene Autry at the Suzor Theater, and that's where Elvis was when his parents went to get him to bring him down to WHBQ. But anyway, fast forward many years to 1970, Elvis comes to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo at the Astrodome, and my father made arrangements for Colonel Parker for me to meet Elvis, and I went through the channels, and I met Joe Esposito for the first time, and then I was taken up to meet Elvis, and Elvis looked at me and said, "Hi, I'm Elvis Presley," like I didn't know. And, that was the start of it. I didn't realize, it didn't look like Elvis to me because his hair was a lot longer than all the posters. The posters for the rodeo were of him in the 68 special. And he couldn't have been nicer, put me right at ease. And I remember him complaining about taking so long to get to the venue because he was at Houston Intercontinental Airport, which I think is like 30 miles from Houston. And he asked Joe, he said, "Is there another airport that we can come in?" He said, and so Joe found out it was Hobby. He said, "Well, that's where we're going to come in from now on." And he did, and it was right in town. But yeah, that was you don't have that much time here. I want to get to other things, but yeah, he couldn't have been nicer. And I remember I had an album, Clam Bake, with me, and he said, "You want me to sign that?" And he said, "Clam Bake." He says, "You like this album?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "There's some good songs on here." And he's like, "Yeah, Big Boss Man, Guitar Man." Of course, they weren't in the movie, but anyway, but I realized, just the impact of Elvis when I saw, the whole Astrodome was lit up for him, and then you just, the deafening scream I can still hear from, it's so many thousands of, screams. It's still vivid to me, and that was the first time that I met him. He was great.
It's just amazing. And you met him several times. And I got to tell everybody too, Don has worked with tons of celebrities in his career. And he was telling me earlier today that the first thing they all asked him was, what was it like to meet Elvis and to be around him? So you've answered this question so many times, but what did you tell all these people? I would imagine by now you probably have a kind of a script that you would set in your head because you got asked so many times.
Well, yeah, I would say that he was down to earth. He was really unassuming. I mean, he really didn't like to talk about himself, and you really couldn't have met a nicer person than Elvis. And, so it kind of went with who I was talking to or the vibe that I got, when I was talking to him. But that was generally what it was.
Yeah. Well, and the next thing we were going to talk about is a brand new book, actually, that just came out August 1st of 2017. It's called Blue Suede Shoes, The Culture of Elvis, written by Tom Gilbert. And this includes some stories, including a beautiful story told by you. And so would you just tell everybody about the book and your part in it? You can reveal as little or as much as you want to about what you said in this book.
Okay, yeah. As George Klein would say, I'm going to give the Reader's Digest version.
Yeah.
Get to the gist of it. A little over a year after my father and I first met with Elvis, we saw him again on November 13th in Dallas, and then a week later, my parents and my sister were killed. There was a train accident at ever crossing railroad tracks. No crossing signals or anything, and so I lost my father, mother, and sister. Mm-hmm. And then my grandmother said, "You need to write him," and so I wrote him and let him know. I got his address out of my father's book, and I got a call back from Charlie Hodge and everything, and he said, "Well, the next time we're in an area, Elvis wants to see you," and so I had it set up. And then, I saw him in San Antonio. That was pretty close. My aunt took me to see him. And he said, "I just can't imagine you losing your whole family like that." And he hugged me, and he liked my dad. My dad really wasn't a fan, but they liked each other, and they had a common interest. In fact, but anyway, I had a nervous pyelonephritis. And, you know, in Texas, they tell you that you're not supposed to cry. You know, you heard that expression, Texans don't cry. Well, I held it in for 2 years, and then all of a sudden there was a waterworks, and then I got a kidney disease. Well, anyway, my girlfriend at the time, Tina, she and I both lived in Houston, and she drove me up, and then talked to Charlie Hodge at the Hickory Log across the street from Graceland. He took me up to see Elvis. Elvis was in the racquetball court, and you know, Elvis. He said, you look terrible. And I told him what the doctors at Baylor College of Medicine in Houston said. They said, I'm going to die. And he said, you're not going to die. You're not going to die. And he told me to sit in the chair. And he got behind me, and he put his hand towards, pretty close to my kidney. He didn't touch me. And I could feel the heat. It was like a Reiki healing. And I've studied that, and I've got my first certificate. But what is, he said, I'm not going to heal you. He said, I'm a conduit. God will heal you if you believe. And I did. I felt that heat. And then the next day or so, I started feeling better. And then I had a doctor's appointment, 2 weeks later, and I went and I did some other tests, and then they came back, and the doctors were shaking their heads, and they were saying, you're in full remission. And how do you explain this? And I told them. They didn't believe me. My grandmother had to, chime in and say, well, yeah, that's what happened. And I've been in full remission since. I still have it. It's still there, but I've never had to have dialysis or anything like that. So, yeah.
Amazing. It's an incredible story. I don't know if there's a whole lot of people out there, Don, that can say they had an experience like that with Elvis. That's amazing.
Well, I'll tell you this one thing. I'll jump back to when I saw him in San Antonio. He told me something. They always later told me don't ever talk about his mother or anything, but he brought his mother up to me, and after we talked about what happened in the accident with my family, and he said, "To live in the hearts that we leave behind is not to die. And you'll see him again." And my aunt wrote all that down, or otherwise I wouldn't have remembered it. But he was really a man who was touched by other people, and he cared.
Yes, that much is certain. And we have so many friends writing in, so if I can interrupt you for just a moment. Sharon Jones is here. Andrea's here. Diana Black is here. I'm going through my list real quick. Delevero, I'm sure I'm not saying your name right. I apologize, but hello and welcome. Terry's here from the UK. Lori McGee Holland from Dawn, you guys. Lori says, I have heard stories about Elvis doing healings and things like that with other people. She said he had such faith. Sissy says, I am crying here. I believe Elvis and God really healed you. Elvis through God. Yeah, I'm trying not to cry. Don't say that stuff. Judy Pearl. McRae Smith, she says he did this with others. And Lori says, watch the gospel music of Elvis Presley. Judith says amazing. Pam says amazing. Beautiful story. Okay. Next up, though, we wanted to mention to you guys something really cool and special and interactive that you can be a part of with Don. Don has a Facebook page, and you can find this at facebook.com/Elvis Presley Network. And Don wanted me to announce to the world for the first time on this show that Sissy is a brand new officer of this awesome page. And this isn't just any Facebook page, Don. You've had some famous people work with you on this and approve this for you. Can you talk about your page a little bit?
Yeah, I was at a personal appearance with George Klein because, like Jim Sykes is now with GK, I used to be GK's right-hand guy along with Richard Davis. And we were doing a live remote somewhere, and it was at a mall. That's what it was. And he saw this shirt with Elvis, but it depicted him as Hitler. And he was infused. He was not infused, but he was very upset about this. And he was fuming. Mm-hmm. And then he said, "We've got to do something about this." And he said there was a movie called Network where the guy goes out the window, the actor, and he says, "I'm as mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore." He said, "Well, that's the way I feel right now." And he said, "Let's He said, let's call this the Elvis Presley Network. And we wrote up a paper, GK, Richard Davis, and I. And then George set it up to where I could meet with Priscilla. And I did, and I showed her the paper and with all of us and what we wrote, you know, to fight the slander and defamation of Elvis's name. And she signed off on it, and she said that that's a great thing, so just go ahead with it. And then we became an official Elvis Presley fan club, even though we were more like a watchdog organization at the time. And what we did is that if Jay Leno or someone said something bad about Elvis on television, you know, where we'd contact the sponsors, and like GK would say, hit them in the pocketbook and say, look, the Elvis fans are going to boycott your products if you continue to let so-and-so, you know, make jokes about him. And a lot of that stuff stopped.
Yeah.
So that was the origin of it. And then Mike Freeman, the author, and Cindy Hazen, they were also officers at one time. And, of course, Richard Davis has passed on. And now it's George Klein, myself, and Sissy. And there's a couple of other ones on there that maybe we'll say who they are in a future show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can't give it all away. But this is so special. I mean, now, is it still kind of a fan club that people can join, or is it just the Facebook page?
It is an actual Elvis Presley fan club. You know, we're registered, and we've never taken dues or anything. And so when the cyber age came in, we just decided to put it on. It used to be a Yahoo group back in the day.
Wow.
Before Facebook, and so we just morphed over to Facebook, and you know, but there's thousands of pictures of Elvis and GK and Richard and all of us, you know, on there, and you know, fans can, you know, actually they can send messages, you know, and if I can, you know, I get them to GK, and you know, I either call him if it's important, or you know, send him an email or something. So you know, we're still viable.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and it's an awesome public page, you guys, so make sure to like it and follow this page. They have over 19,000 likes on Facebook, and if you're lucky and you post something to the wall, it might just get to somebody that you're hoping to talk to, so that's really, really exciting. People all over the world can stay in touch with you there. Everybody's putting such nice comments. I'm seeing hearts fly across the screen. Thank you all for being here live with us. We appreciate it so much. On a side note, Lori McGee Holland, she wants me to say that the tickets are on sale for Mary Ann Cox's last Elvis Presley Memorial Dinner. You can call her to charge your tickets. It's going to be August 13th at the Guest House at Graceland. Thank you, Lori. Yeah, we're happy to mention Mary Ann's dinner always for you guys. Now you guys are hearing Don. You're hearing what a wonderful guy he is. Great personality. Can you believe that he's also extremely talented? That's right. He's a performer as well. And he actually has 2 albums that you can purchase online. And Don, will you tell everybody about your albums? I know albums are kind of a baby to a performer. They're important to you. And so will you talk about your 2 albums? Share with us what those are all about.
Well, sure. I was an ETA for a while, but I decided not to record any of Elvis's songs because nobody can do them as good as Elvis. And so I decided to do some rockabilly music, and I had a great band with me. And so Johnny Cash was a friend of mine. And so the first album I did was We're Gonna Rock. And Billy Swan, who wrote I Can Help, and Elvis, of course, recorded that. I was doing some shows with him, and I said, I'm going to record your song on Saturday. He said, really? He said, well, if you want me to play the organ or something on it, I'll do it. I said, well, you want to sing with me on it? He said, sure. So we did a duet. And then I did Big River, a big Johnny Cash song, and he actually got to hear that before he passed away. And he loved the music on it. Actually, my bass player, Russell Scott, he just loved that bass on it. And then he was still alive at the time, and I was going to do my second album. And then I got the okay, and I was going to do tribute to him. And sadly, he passed away before I finished it. So the second album is called tribute to Johnny Cash. But Sam Phillips actually had a lot to do with me picking out some of the songs, and some of the songs on the first album, We're Gonna Rock, is what Sam called, those are some of my babies. because they were songs that were recorded, by Roy Orbison and Charlie Rich and Jerry Lee Lewis and Billy Lee Riley. So I hope people will like to check them out, and they can go to my website, Don Wilson's Hollywood Beat, www.donwilsonshollywoodbeat.com, and it's a S after Don Wilson. And then there's a page there for my CDs, and they can order that. They can order the CDs there if they like. There's a lot of stuff on there. There's articles that I've written, and I have Larry Geller actually, writes some articles for my website as well, and I have other people who guest. So hundreds of pictures, and I hope people will check it out.
It's a fantastic site, and we're going to put a link. Everybody that watches me on a regular basis, they know we do a blog post after the show, and I'll put a link to DonWilsonsHollywoodBeat.com on there for you. And when you go, you can actually hear samples of his songs. You can hear how much he sounds like Johnny Cash on one of his albums. It kind of gave me goosebumps. It was pretty awesome. So definitely check all of that out. Those are, his albums, and they're fantastic, and you can get those from him. Now, on top of all of this, the last little part that I wanted to talk to you about, because there's so much with Don, and you guys, we're going to definitely have him back on. He's got so many fantastic stories. But I thought we would, the last part here, we would talk about what was once called the Definitive Elvis DVD series. This was a huge series. A lot of you may own it because over 1 million copies were actually sold. It's no longer available, but this DVD series is so special, and Don was actually a production consultant for this series. And it's very special. It was actually in the Guinness Book of World Records. So will you tell everybody about your DVD series, Don? You can start from the beginning, like why you went into this and all of that stuff.
Okay, I think I got 8 minutes, so let me...
Yeah, no, that's okay. Talk as long as you want.
Yeah, well, in 1976, Wayne Martindale, a good friend of mine, by the way, he had a radio special, 12 hours long, called The Elvis Presley Story, where he told Elvis's story from the beginning until that present time. And I remember I was sick in bed, and I listened to the whole thing, And then I said, one day it would be great if someone could do a video like that, like 12 hours. You just go through Elvis's life from the beginning. And then years later, when I after I moved from Memphis to Hollywood, I had a radio show there, and I was doing an autograph show with Jeannie Carmen, who was had briefly dated Elvis, and she was one of Marilyn Monroe's friends. And anyway, she was approached to do an interview, and then she said, "Well, if you want to talk about Elvis," he knew Elvis, and so the guy said, "Really?" And he said, "Well, my boss would really like to meet you," and we exchanged cards. A couple of weeks later, I went down there. I met the guy with the video company, and I told him. He said, "Well, can you think of a project?" And I said, "Well, this is one. How about a 12-hour documentary about Elvis?" He said, 12 hours? And I told him the story. He said, that sounds interesting. He said, "Let's make it 16 hours." And he says, we'll license it to show on Bravo in Canada, which they did, from like maybe August 1st to the 16th, on the 25th anniversary. That was like 3 years later. And he says, it's a big undertaking, and he says, well, if you can get all these, well, you're going to get the people for the interviews. And he says, you want to start tomorrow? And so I started, and for the first year, I would get on the phone, and I would contact whoever, Glenn Campbell or, Sonny West, Dr. Nick, and then I interviewed George Barris, and then he said, well, Joe Esposito's coming in on Friday, so I said, well, good. He said, well, come on down. So I did. He said, what are you doing? It's Joe. And I told him, and he said, really? And I said, yeah, my boss had said that, maybe we could get somebody, that was around Elvis a lot longer than I to do this. He said, well, let me talk to him. And so they did. They had like a meeting for an hour, and he came out and he said, okay, Don, I'm on board. We're a team. And then for the next 2 years, I had an office. Joe had one. It was not too far away from each other. And he would get people. He would get Kenny Rogers, and then I would get Eddie Arnold. And he would say, well, how'd you get Eddie Arnold? Eddie never talks to anybody. And so I'd get Glenn Campbell. He got Mac Davis. It was a little competition. And, so we would travel, to Vegas, to Nashville, to wherever, to their homes. Got Connie Stevens, Linda Thompson, Mindy Miller, Bill Medley, 200 people that knew Elvis, celebrities, the Memphis Mafia, girlfriends, Sheila Ryan. I can't even name them all. And so that was like every day for 3 years. And it finally came out, and it was a pretty good size hit, especially in Europe. And mainly it's talking heads, it's interviews, but a lot of those were the last interviews. I mean, like Jackie Kahane or Billy Barty. We had the whole of the TCB band with the Jordanaires. So it's one of a kind, and because it was 13 hours and 42 minutes, and it had so many interviews, it went to the Guinness Book of World Records as the longest documentary. So it was a lot of fun to do, and I'm proud of the project, and it's still out there if you can find it.
Yeah, well, you should be proud, and that is phenomenal. I did Google it, you guys. There may be some people selling it on eBay or used on Amazon. If you've got a friend that loves Elvis, ask them if they have this CD or this DVD series. That might be the best way for you to catch it, because it's no longer available brand new, but definitely look into that. I know I'm going to. I can't wait to find it and watch it. So.
Right. Well, don't look for the revised edition. There's
see, this is important. Yes, this is insider knowledge here.
Yeah, they took a lot of stuff out of it when they re-released it, so you want to get the original one. The original one will not say revised on it. So, but yeah, it's a lot of people on there, and it'll take you a while to watch it, but everybody seems to like seeing it.
Yeah.
So that's something I guess I've helped with that I've left behind.
Absolutely. You've left a legacy with that, and getting all those people, so many of them are lost now. I'm so glad that you did that and got them on film and on video. And as an Elvis fan, I got to tell you, I really appreciate all the work that you've done preserving Elvis's memory, and with your website and everything else. And yeah, so I just want to do a couple of shout outs again real quick here. Pam, she wanted me to repeat the Facebook page name again for her, so she's here live, so I will do that. It's facebook.com/Elvis Presley Network, Pam, and we'll put this in the blog post after the show. And I want to say hi to Beth, she's here, and Lucy wants one of my hats. Look up Elvis Pawn Shop, John Daly. We're plugging him all the time. I love my hat, wear it all the time. But if you're just tuning in, we talked this evening with the fantastic Don Wilson. He's been a production consultant on many video and book projects. He's a former vice president of the Southern California Motion Picture Council. He was executive award presenter. The reason he's here is because he got to talk and spend so much time with Elvis in his younger years. And Elvis even mentioned you from the stage one time. Let's talk about that. Can you tell everybody that story?
Well, sure. I was at Elvis's last concert. I was seated not too far away from the Albans, and after he did Hound Dog, he introduced them, and he says, "And they're a very lovely family." And then just kind of a throwaway line, it felt like, and he said, "And Don Wilson," and nobody, applauded or anything, and Elvis just laughed. And he said, "Oh, well, my cousin Patsy, she's from Isaac Creek Date," and he goes into the other people. I think he would introduce the janitor if he'd known his name that night. He introduced everybody. But you can see that you can hear it on YouTube. If you get the last farewell, Elvis's last concert. So I do want to say that I still am like an advisor to Sissy's group, find out what's happening then and now, and it's a good group, let you know of course, and so I mean, if she needs to verify something, she'll contact me, and then I'll contact whoever if I can't verify it. So.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. So everybody, you hear me talk about this so many weeks, that there is a fantastic Facebook group if you're looking for a place to get your Elvis news, pictures on a daily basis, drama-free, fantastic group with around 12 or 13,000 members now. It's called Elvis. Find out what's happening then and now. Formerly Elvis Anything and Everything. So I know a lot of you are already members there, but if not, definitely look that up. Dawn is right there by Sissy's side helping her administer that group and keeping everybody friendly and nice and making sure we have more facts than rumors and all of that good stuff. So definitely look for that fantastic Facebook group so you can get your Elvis fix every single day. So, well, with that, I think we'll wrap it up. Dawn, I want to thank you so much for your time. We just appreciate you, and I have just been honored to get to know you and talk to you today. Thank you for your time and for all that you did for Elvis, all that you're still doing for Elvis, and we look forward to having you on the show again real soon.
Well, I love that, and next time we can talk about my memories of Elvis, and I can, tell some memories and special times of him, so.
Yeah, I would love that.
To you.
Yeah, we'll talk real soon. We'll do the next one will be the Memories of Elvis. We'll call it that. I love it. So,
all right.
Thank you, Don. I'll call you back in a little bit after the show's over. Thanks for being here with us today.
Okay, I enjoyed it very much. Okay, have a good night, everyone.
Thanks. So you guys, our first interview here on TCB Radio Network on Facebook Live. I am so honored and delighted that you guys were here with me live for this historic night with Don Wilson. And he's going to go back and watch this video. He's going to see all the comments that you typed in. So I appreciate the thank yous and the hearts and all that y'all are sending for him. He did this out of the goodness of his heart, helping us out, being my guinea pig, my first real interview on the show. And hopefully, if you guys were able to hear them and it was all good, I'm going to watch it back. We're going to do more of these. We have some fantastic people from the Elvis world, people that knew him, met him, worked with him, and so much more. I met a lot of great people in Memphis that gave me their phone number, so we'll be talking to all of them systematically. So I hope you'll tune in for all of those. And thank you so much for watching with us live tonight. Thanks for watching the replays. And we'll see you right back here, same time, same place on TCB Radio Network on Facebook Live. Y'all have a great evening. We'll see you real soon. Thanks for watching.